scene in Marion County as investigators say 6 people died in an apparent murder-suicide. 3 of those victims are children. I'm Latricia Thomas.
And I'm Josh Rowe, News Channel 9. Skyview video shows the home where deputies rushed to reports of a shooting late last night. Once they arrived there, they found the home had been set on fire.
It's a story we've been following since Good Morning Chattanooga. Here's what we've learned since then. Deputies identified the man responsible as Gary Barnett. We also learned 2 of the victims were his estranged wife, Regina Barnett, and her adult daughter. And past records reveal a judge had issued a no contact order against Barnett, meaning he was not allowed to be around his wife.
News Channel 9's Sam Pena has been in Marion County all afternoon. He spoke to one man who knew the family and still trying to process what happened.
The remains of this Marion County home tell the story of loss. Lost love and lost lives. Law enforcement say it happened after this man, Gary Barnett, set the blaze after going on a shooting spree.
They're always going tit for tat, back and forth.
Noah Simmons says he would often break up the fights between his neighbors, Regina and Gary Barnett.
I spoke to the wife a few times during the arguments, asking what was going on.
But he never could have imagined this ending. Their Marion County home up in flames after the sheriff says Gary Barnett shot and killed his estranged wife Regina and her adult daughter Britney Perez.
Neighbors were all standing around screaming and hollering, these kids in there. And
3 children also died, but it's unclear if those came from gunshots or the fire itself.
It's just a terrible situation.
Sheriff Bo Burnett says neighbors called 911, leading deputies to find 6 bodies inside the burned home and another man shot 4 times, now hospitalized and speaking with investigators.
TBI went over and took a statement from him sometime last night.
This wasn't the first act of violence by Barnett, with this signed complaint from Regina against him for assault in December.
Bad situation. Officer had been there in the past on domestic situations.
In the affidavit, Regina said Gary had 50 to 60 guns, and she was scared he would, quote, get drunk and shoot me, and later received an order from the judge preventing him from going on the property.
I thought it was order protection, but it was just an order from the court for him not to be at the house.
In March of last year, their relationship reached a breaking point, with these documents showing Barnett filing for divorce. And though it wasn't finalized, their last court date was set for June 30th.
The wife did everything in her power to keep him away from her. And just seeing that nothing would happen, nothing could stop this from happening, yeah, it's really saddening.
The last step in a conflict, Noah says, shocked the community.
I did not expect anything like that at all.
In Marion County, Sam Pena, News Channel 9.
Barnett was charged with domestic assault at the time of the court order was granted. It was still in effect at the time of last night's shooting. He was also ordered to give up any guns. We also learned another order of protection was filed February of 2022. It accuses his estranged wife of threatening him. TBI says the bodies of the 6 victims were taken to Nashville for autopsies. Another adult who was shot is still in a hospital in Chattanooga. As we learn more about what happened, you can depend on us to keep you updated, both on air and online. News.
A bulldozer levels a building in Granby, Colorado. Then another. And another. It's part of a meticulously planned citywide demolition project.
It looks like the bulldozer went crazy.
But this plan wasn't put together by city engineers or construction workers.
Just received a 911 call reporting that there is an out-of-control bulldozer.
It's the brainchild of an angry man with a grudge against a lot of local people and businesses.
They can't tell who's driving it, but there is someone inside.
The man inside this armor-plated bulldozer is Marv Heemeyer. As horrified townspeople run for their lives, Heemeyer wrecks buildings and vehicles one after another. And he's ready to take on sheriff's deputies or anybody else who stands in his way.
Bad situation, guys. We might need SWAT team.
Heemeyer's an accomplished welder who spent a lot of time inside a secret workshop.
Yeah, it's all encased in metal, and you can't see who's driving or anything.
There, he outfitted the dozer with 2 sheets of half-inch steel plating. with a layer of concrete in between.
What type do you need? The biggest armor-piercing ammunition he has.
On this day, he seals himself in and takes off on a violent ride. Inside his cockpit, 2 assault rifles, lots of ammo, and video monitors to help him see where he's going. A bank, a hardware store, a concrete factory, even the town hall, and especially the police department. The one thing all of those places have in common, Heemeyer feels he has been wronged by these businesses or the people who own them. He even exacts revenge on the home of the town's former mayor.
He does have armor-piercing weaponry.
Deputies and SWAT teams try everything. But even armor-piercing bullets can't penetrate Marv Heemeyer's homemade metal and concrete shield.
Jasper, if you want to try to box him in.
At one point, a heavy equipment operator decides to put a stop to the carnage. He climbs behind the wheel of his front-end loader and gets set to take on the armored bulldozer. But quickly, the operator finds himself in an industrial-sized game of chicken. Heemeyer speeds ahead, aiming directly for the blockage. Realizing his intentions, the loader attempts to flee, but the armored dozer gives chase. Ramming the tractor off its path, it steams ahead to its next target. Authorities seize the narrow opportunity, using the front loader truck to block the dozer in. The civilian operator hurries to safety. Forced to continue ahead, Heemeyer pushes his creation to the limit. The bulldozer grinds to a halt under the rubble of a steel building. Its engine has called it quits. As authorities try to get into the cab of his homemade tank, Marv Heemeyer takes his own life. It takes officers several hours and a cutting torch to finally get inside the cab. None of the townspeople are hurt, but the price tag on this rampage is about $7 million.
Really messed up thing that guys experience after a breakup is when their ex not only pretends but spreads word that he is a bad man just so that she doesn't feel guilty over how she treated him.